Time now for Media Watch. Time to say hello to James Creedon.
Evening,
Hi,
Chris.
James. Starting off with, as you expect, plenty of online reaction to Netanyahu's speech.
That's right. Average Americans, but also media reacting to that speech. For example, we'll start with a tweet from the left-leaning English-language daily Haaretz in Israel, and they're giving quotes from the Israeli Prime Minister. The deal doesn't block Iran's path to the bomb. It paves it. So, of course, US-Iran talks regarding nuclear, the P5+1 talks, very much a central part of his speech. And some saying, well, look, there's a huge amount of noise over this Bibi speech to Congress, but it's not as if his Iran policy is a secret, nor will it change the course of diplomacy. So Rula Khalaf there commenting on Twitter about the fact that, well, we didn't really learn anything new in terms of Israel's position regarding Iran's nuclear program. By reaching out to Netanyahu directly and setting up a visit without the knowledge of the White House, John Boehner is undermining not just Obama's policies, but his very leadership of US foreign policy. That was a comment by one journalist, Max Fisher, who is the content director of Vox.com, echoing what were remarks. That was a remark that was widely made in the last number of weeks in the run-up to the speech. And he also commented on Twitter today, during the speech, Netanyahu warns us against repeating the mistakes of the past, a reference to the Holocaust. But Max Fisher points out, well, 2003, the Iraq invasion. And in fact, he wasn't the only one to make the remark that Benjamin Netanyahu was very much in favour of that invasion. And indeed, he made that remark widely known during a speech to Congress back in 2002, where he said, if you take out Saddam, I guarantee you that it will have enormous positive reverberations on the region. And of course, we know that that's not necessarily historically accurate 12, 13 years down the line. Elsewhere, of course, then people supporting Benjamin Netanyahu and saying, thank you, Barack Obama, for not tainting this historical speech with a single member of your joke of an administration. So that's a pro-Netanyahu, anti-Obama comment. And this one is similar. I picture Obama with his fingers in his ears saying la, 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 all the way through the speech, so he won't have to hear the truth. Now, for Amnesty International, the truth is elsewhere. No mention of how Israel builds Jewish-only settlements by forcing Palestinians out of their homes. So I suppose it's perhaps no surprise that Netanyahu didn't address that particular issue during the speech. And elsewhere, in Israel, of course, it's election time. We're in pre-election weeks in Israel. Do BB campaign ads have to contain a disclaimer? Content approved and paid for by the US Republican Party, or is that just here? Quips, one Twitter user. It's worth pointing out, actually, that in Israel, on Israeli TV, the speech was actually banned because of those pre-election rules trying to ensure fairness. So we'll just finish with one poll, Chris, this one taken by CNN, saying 30% of US voters approve of the speech, 48% disapprove.
Now for something completely different,
yes,
James,
slight change
in the English countryside.
Indeed, this was a photograph taken and put up online this morning before going completely and entirely viral. Now, woodpecker shown flying with weasel on its back in amateur photographs. Amazing image. Let's just get a close-up on that. I think you'll agree it's a pretty rare and special moment. Now, it looks a little bit Disney-esque. It did inspire, indeed, some Twitter users to imagine...
We're sure it's real, James?
Apparently it is real. It has been verified, and it was various people were making comments that it looked quite Disney, except it appears that it was an attempted murder by that weasel in question. In fact, he was hunting, and as you would expect, Vladimir Putin found his way on top of the weasel as well, or not the weasel, the woodpecker, and it did indeed become quite the internet meme. But you'll be glad to hear, in any case, Chris, that the woodpecker did escape with its life intact.
Excellent. And finally, a surge in the polls for the Australian Prime Minister, Tony Abbott. Perhaps not the kind of polls you were thinking about.
That's right. Not opinion polls. This is flag polls. And indeed, it appears the rather nationalist Prime Minister is stirring up nationalist fervour with all of these flags. And apparently there are more and more and more flags appearing behind him at every press conference. You can see there that at last count there, that's 8 flags appearing behind Tony Abbott. And in Australia, at least, I don't know, is it The Guardian or who was responsible for this particular graphic, but number of flags in selected prime ministerial announcements is now a graphic doing the rounds of Australian media. And there is a bit of a spike in the last couple of weeks, it appears. So as he's going down in the opinion polls, the number of flag polls seems to be increasing, with some comparisons to the style of Mr. Ronald Reagan during his presidency. So
grand gestures can leave you open to ridicule, can't they?
Indeed they can.
James Creedon, thank you very much. That
Thanks,
was Media Watch.